It's September now, boys and girls. You know what that means. In about 3.5 weeks, we'll be taking the Dark Elves, High Elves, Lizardmen, and Skaven into battle in Total War Warhammer 2. But while the hype ramps up for that, there's a glorious Medieval 2 mod called Beginning of the End Times. Maybe you've heard of it, where we can already do that. Where we can already wage war with the children of the old ones and usher in a new age of prehistoric dinosaurs and overused Pepe memes. This was a good one. Absolutely worth sticking around to the end, so strap in. Time to crack open some boys with the cold ones as we have Temple Guard, Scar Vets, Kroxigors, and Ancient Stegadons with the Engine of the Gods face down the numberless hordes of Clan Pestilens in the deep, steaming jungles of Lustria in this 3 versus 3 team battle. Screaming Bell in the vanguard, pushed by Storm Vermin, and each of these 3 players, Attila, Stan, and J-Bob, have brought a Clan Pestilens themed build. And what's the best way to get rid of disease? Burn it! Engine of the Gods open up fire now, and a lot of rats will be dying before they ever make it into melee combat. Clan rats and slaves in the vanguard at the moment, and looks like the first slaves have already made it in as the Engine of the Gods lets it rip again, and that's a lot of damage, man. If you let that thing fire continuously, it will punish you heavily. So all 3 Skaven players will be looking to neutralize the threat there early on with some well-placed Giselle shots or volleys of poison wind. Dildor is on my left flank, and Draven is on my right. I'm holding down the center. Unfortunately, Draven was forced to deploy kind of far away, so in the early stages of this battle, me and Dildor might get swarmed and overrun if we're not careful. We're going to pop Battle Cry, charge in with the front ranks of Saurus, charging into the Plague Monks. That should be a very interesting engagement, but those Plague Monks have 2 HP, so taking them down is not going to be very easy. Clan Rats and Slave Rats meet shielding for the rest of the armies as the Skaven are swarming here. Temple Guard weighing into the thick of things and slicing stuff up with those gigantic McQueedles. Love that aesthetic, love that weapon. It's so awesome to see that thing get used in action. And it looks like these Saurus Scar Vets on the left flank now kind of getting bogged down by some of the meat shields, and actually Poison Wind Globadiers getting some nice volleys in on the left flank of the cavalry as even more Skaven stream in here. There are so many numbers on the field. We are massively outnumbered, but it is a 3v3 battle. Obviously, Saurus should be able to... Oh my god, it was a beautiful shot from the Engine of the Gods from the flank. The Saurus should be able to kill many models of Skaven each. They're not quite as good as they were in tabletop or in the source material, but they're still decent in this mod. Definitely worth the price. And what we're doing right here is basically just tying down everything in the center, letting the Ancient Stegadon fire in from the flank, kind of like Wind of Death, shooting down the side of the engagement and just ripping them apart while the Stegadons in the back lines deal with any flankers. Plague Monks trying to get around the flank as the Kroxigors get in there, start smashing stuff up. And things are getting intense now. Everything's getting committed into melee. All 3 armies from both sides have committed. Plague Censur Bearers waiting in against a bunch of Saurus and Skink Spearmen. Kroxigors roaring in from the flank, getting a nice charge into a bunch of Storm Vermin with halberds. It's going to be a tough engagement for them, not because Storm Vermin have a bonus versus large, because Kroxigors don't really count as large. They're just big, blown-up infantry. The problem is that they have very fast attack animations, so they can kind of stun lock the bigger units. Scar Vets charging in from the flank, getting a really nice charge on a bunch of Clan Rats, and the Scar Vets and the Stegadons are going to be such an important component of this battle. The mobility and the tankiness that the Lizardmen can bring to bear are going to be so important. If these Scar Vets are able to get a ton of hammering animals off, then it's going to be looking very good for the Lizardmen. If they're shut down, if the Skaven meet shield appropriately, it could be very tough. It looks like Dildor is currently being completely overwhelmed over on his left flank, which was to be expected because of how the deployment zones were set up. Honestly, he probably should have deployed further back, and his left flank is getting overrun. Stegadons are doing their best job to make sure that doesn't happen, though, as they're stomping through a bunch of Storm Vermin. Kroxigors holding their own for now, but they are beaten, battered, and bloodied at this point. The Clan Pestilens got a nice rear charge off into the back of some Temple Guard. And the Globadiers are doing their work. You can see the Poison Wind rising from the battlefield there. They could carve a swath of destruction through the center and spell doom for the Lizardmen. But we have Cav moving in on the flanks, and we have Stegadon stomping through their lines. If we're able to get into those powerful weapon teams and shut them down early, could be enough to turn things in our favor. Temple Guard are going to overlap the engagement. The Plague Monks actually got a really nice rear charge off, but Temple Guard coming in from behind. It'll be a rear charge on a unit that was rear charging, and now those Plague Monks are isolated, and Temple Guard should be able to do very well if they're able to surround and destroy those Plague Monks. I think they should be able to. There is a unit of Giselles, not a perfectly themed Clan Pestilens build, but of course, You don't really want to play Skaven if you don't have any Scryer machinery whatsoever. There's just way too much fun stuff to be used there, especially in this mod. Those Jezzails will be a very important component of bringing down those Stegadons if the Children of the Horned Rat want to bring them down in a quick and efficient manner. Very accurate, of course, very deadly. I think you can imagine the kind of havoc a Warpstone bullet might cause inside a wound cavity. We're not just talking internal bleeding and organ damage. That's the stuff of chaos you're talking about, working on your guts from the inside. Pretty nasty stuff for sure. Skink priests in the back lines are doing a great job of sniping stuff. The casters in general in Beginning of the End Times have kind of shifted away from where they were in like 1.5 and before Beginning of the End Times came out, where they were these nukes, these forces of utter destruction, and now a lot of them are more focused on single target sniping. So they'll kill a single model instead of like 5 or 6 in a single shot, but they'll be much better at like killing high value targets rather than just demolishing everything you can possibly throw at them or you shoot at with. So they're much more suited for killing those high HP, low model count units than the big chunks of infantry that you might see in this battle. So shooting at clan rats and slave rats, not ideal for them, but the Ancient Stegadon, that's how you want to use them. You shoot them into big blocks of storm vermin from the flank, and you can rip stuff up. Those Scar Vets are still causing so much carnage in the back lines, charging down, making sure a lot of stuff routes. There we go. Great shot from the Ancient Stegadon. One of them, that was Draven's, I believe, that fired in and ripped through a line of storm vermin there, immolating them all. And it's a question now of how quickly each flank will break. It's interesting because the Lizardman left flank is unquestionably being overrun right now, but the same thing is happening to the Skaven left flank as well. And it's just going to be a question of who breaks first and who breaks harder. Routing isn't so much of a problem if you can rally and come back to the fight, but currently there's not a ton of routing on either side. Rat Ogres charging into a bunch of Kroxigors, Skink Archers providing some support, and the one of the generals goes down. A Skaven Warlord is actually going to go down to a bunch of Kroxigors there as the Stegadon stomps around from the flank, get into a more threatening position. So that might cause some chain routing over on that side. And yeah, the Skaven left flank definitely breaking, but so is Dildor and the left. I can't. Every time I say that, I just kind of smile. Like, why is that your name? Dildor, the Defender of Porn. Like, what? Why? Why? I would love to hear an explanation for what the hell that name is. Looks like a Saurus Old Blood will go down here. Believe that was Dildor's army, his general right there. And Ancient Stegadon still ripping it up. Every single time he's able to fire in from the flank. Just does so much damage there. Those are really keeping the Lizardmen in the fight for right now. Some Screaming Bell, Storm Vermin bodyguards routing. The Skink Chiefs are making sure they don't come back. You can see their blue lightning bolts getting shot out now. Lots of Skaven models are dropping, getting set on fire. That looks so awesome. Here come the Saurus charging in from the flank, and some Albino Guard have made it in as well. Those Albino Guard are going to be tough to bring down for sure. Some of the most elite heavy bodyguards of the Storm Vermin armies. They're actually the bodyguards of the Grey Seers themselves. And Screaming Bell is just going to provide so much morale support. The crazy thing about the Screaming Bell is it actually provides morale in about like a third the size of a typical map, which is pretty crazy. It gives you gigantic leadership bonuses, and the AoE is massive. So I don't know if that needs to get maybe toned down a little bit. I don't know if it's even intended to be that big, but even when you're not on the bell itself, it still provides that gigantic radius. So it can actually quite benefit the Skaven morale in the long run, and you'll see it in most Skaven armies. It's definitely helping them out right now. But we're about halfway through this battle or so. Balance bar still dead even. Ancient Stegadons and the regular Stegadons definitely doing a bunch of work for the Lizardmen. But Clan Pestilens has pushed through on their right flank. Only a couple Skink Archers and maybe a couple Stegadons left over on this side of the field. No, it looks like one of the Stegadons is dead. Storm Vermin cut to pieces with our halberds, and they'll be pushing through. My army has also broken. I don't have a lot of infantry left, but I do have my Cav, and I still have my Stegadons, both of them. So that will be very important as we start moving into the middle to later stages of this game. Keeping those alive, making sure the Saurus can get up into melee, tie stuff down, and get those devastating hammer and anvils off. And of course, the beautiful shots from the Stegadons, the Ancient Stegadons, still firing in, still causing so much carnage as the slaves stream in. So the game plan is pretty much just rally around Draven, get everything over there, and I'm going to send my Saurus Scar Vets on a bit of a hunting mission to take out some of those weapon teams and kind of get my Saurus Scar Vets into a position where they might be forgotten about if I move them into the forest over on the other side of the battlefield. Censur Bearers charging up the center, Kroxigors doing their best to tie everything down and just give our Ancient Stegadon more time to fire in. There's a lot of routing going on now. Poison Wind Globadiers making their presence felt in the center for sure. And Skink Archers might have to get committed into melee relatively soon here as well. Yeah, Plague Monks have made it in. Saurus charging. Are the Saurus routing? They might have just routed. And he's actually going to get a nice little kill animation on the Skink Archer. Chop his head off. And they're still pushing inexorably forward. Battle so spread out. Jezzail's getting some really nice shots in on the Stegadon. Gotta pull back. A couple of volleys from those will take down any of the big units. We're talking Carnosaurs, we're talking Stegadons, any of the dinosaur stuff. So you really can't let those Jezzails get their shots in, or they will absolutely punish you. Poison Wind Globadiers in guard mode here, and kind of hidden amongst the bodies of the Kroxigors. You can see their tails risen up, and they're getting some really good shots in from close range. That's going to be devastating. The Poison Wind Globadiers have very short range, but they're powerful. They will hurt anything they throw stuff at, and they'll hurt it bad. Saurus Scar Vets, this was my plan here. Got them through the woods. Everyone forgot about them. Charging in from the flank. Now taking out the Poison Wind Mortar. Taking that off the field, or the idea there anyway. Might have to cycle charge one more time, take it out, but definitely decent move there to silence that artillery, because it could have done a lot of damage to us over time. Few Albino Guard in there. Skink Archers and Spearmen moving into melee, and Skink Archers still providing some support from the back lines as well with the range firepower. Lots of routing actually. And the balance bar still dead even as Clan Pestilens moves up. Stegadon roaring in from the flank. Oh, but they peeled off. I'm going for the Globadiers, that's why. Yep, the Stegadon's charging at the Globadiers, and the first one goes down. And the second one comes through the gas. That looks so cool. Pancaking the Deathglow Bombardier at the head of the group. But elephant units are a bit unwieldy, kind of like artillery in Total War Warhammer. They oftentimes charge right through the end of a unit instead of the middle and fail to tie down everybody. And that folly will cost it its life. Lungs filling with poison gas. Vile death for such a noble beast there. But the Globadiers managed to take down both Stegadons, and that is quite a blow to the children of the old ones. But Ancient Stegadon still stomping around, getting chased after by a big group of Screaming Bell Storm Vermin. And the Saurus Scar Vets are on the hunt now, trying to take down the Jezzails. Look to be reforming, trying to get a volley off, and they will do so. Multiple HP in the scaly skin of the Saurus Scar Vets should keep them alive, and a big charge into the center of the Jezzails. Not going to be enough to finish them off, though. I think that Cav is already pretty tired. And you guys know that units being tired in Medieval 2 or even in Total War Warhammer is a gigantic deal. Makes everything start running way slower, and combat effectiveness just drops like crazy. So, not able to kill the entire unit there with one charge. Ancient Stegadon ripping through the center of the Poison Wind Globadiers. We'll have to pull back, though. A couple volleys from that. We already saw what kind of damage they can do to Stegadons. And Draven will have to pull away there. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. If I'm pronouncing your name wrong, my apologies, sir. Draven Shekel, I don't know which one it is, but yeah. Anyway, he's doing well this battle. He's held down the right flank admirably well. Trying my best to support him, trying to keep my Ancient Stegadon in the fight and alive. Still being chased by the Storm Vermin as the Saurus Scar Vets stomp their way through a middle of a bunch of Plague Monks. Storm Vermin still chasing after them. And I'm just trying to keep my mobile stuff in the fight, trying to get it into a position where it can be used for the most good. Balance bar is a little bit in the Skaven's favor at this point, but the two most important units on the field are still around. The two Ancient Stegadons. If they're able to continue firing, who knows what kind of carnage they can unleash. Kroxigor trying to desperately take down the Storm Vermin and Plague Censur Bearers. Not sure he'll be able to make it out of there. Nice shot from the Ancient Stegadon and the Engine of the Gods. Doing some work. The other one working together in tandem with the Scar Vets. And killing a bunch. Oh, I think all the Poison Wind Globadiers are dead now. So taking that unit off the field, gigantic swing in the Lizardmen's favor. Because just like the Ancient of the Gods, those Poison Wind Globadiers are elite killers. Murder anything they get their hands on. Plague Monks and Storm Vermin surrounding the Scar Vets. Have to pull them out. Might leave one or two models in there to die. Is he going to get out? I think he actually did. And the general goes down. Second chieftain, second warlord for the Skaven clans has fallen, and Screaming Bell isn't very close to where the engagement is now happening. So maybe not getting the morale buff could spell doom for the Skavens, could spell some kind of chain routing here. Don't really know. A couple of Skaven getting their faces gored on the tusks of that gigantic Ancient Stegadon. Big charge into the slaves, and that is punishing. Look at those numbers drop. Routing instantly off the charge there. That's big. I mean, again, it's just a slave rat, but all these units, those slave rats, as we approach the end game here, that could be the difference between winning and losing. So, gotta get them off the field. Gotta get those meat shields out of the fight as soon as possible. Storm Vermin now wading into melee with skink archers. They're not gonna have a good time there. Those halberds will cleave them in two, no problems whatsoever. But the battle still hangs in the balance. Still dead even, with both sides taking tremendous casualties. Look at all those dead bodies on the ground as the Jezzails get ready to get another shot in. Saurus Scar Vets roaring down the hill. Moving very slowly right now, actually. They're almost walking at this point. Exhausted Cold Ones are not very fast. General goes down for Draven. Not good. Lizardmen don't take too many morale penalties, but a big downhill charge, and that should be the end of the Jezzails, right? Right? After that charge, big old Raptors and Scarvets on top, slamming into the Jezzails. They didn't even carry through there. The exhaustion on those Cold Ones is really hurting them, really hurting their combat effectiveness. A lot of immolated Storm Vermin there, boiled alive inside their armor. And in some ways, this is already kind of a win for the Skaven, right? They have the numbers to replace army after army, claw pack after claw pack. Tens of thousands of losses mean absolutely nothing to them, but those numbers do mean something to the Saurus and Slann and Skinks of Lustria. And you can't replace Carnosaurs or Stegadons very easily like you can ranks upon ranks of Storm Vermin. So, probably, in terms of lore, this has gone way better for the Skaven than it has for the Lizardmen, but that's not how Total War battles work, thankfully. We're not looking at it from a lore perspective here. We're looking at it, who will be the last man standing? And in that kind of scenario, it's still up for grabs. Both teams, balance are still even. Both teams have a chance of winning this battle. There are still some Plague Monks and big blocks of Storm Vermin, but the Ancient of the Gods is in a good spot. Could get a big shot in here. See, it's firing missiles right now. Big shot, yes. I just see that kill about 6 or 7. Did not cause the unit to rout. I thought I saw a morale flash there. It's going to be able to get one more shot in before they close into melee, I think. One more shot. Nope. Pass have to pull back. Alright, that's a problem because they were in a big square. That could have done some serious damage. A point-blank shot there could have killed another 10 or so. Maybe even caused the rest of that unit to rout. I don't think the Screaming Bell are making an impact on this game anymore. I don't think that they're close enough for the morale buff, but I could be wrong. Like I said, that radius is gigantic. It could be playing some kind of role. Oh, nice shot. As we get a little bit closer towards the center of the battlefield where the Storm Vermin are running now, they might be inside the radius. Scarvet's still on the prowl, and here comes some Skink Archers as the Ancient of the Gods wheels away, trying to use that minimal mobility to get away from the infantry, and it's actually doing alright there. Skink Archers coming in for a charge, and so are the Scarvets, which is not the ideal engagement for them whatsoever. They're moving so slow. They need a rest. That's the thing about Medieval 2 stamina, though, is Medieval 2 stamina replenishes way slower than Warhammer's. So you can let them sit for like 5 minutes and they'd probably only get tired, whereas in Warhammer it's about a minute and you're back up to fresh. So their combat effectiveness is dramatically reduced at this point, but the Skink Archers have surrounded those Storm Vermin. I think they should be going for a rear charge, honestly. Dildor stuff should be going for a charge there. Big shot! That was the biggest one we've seen in a while. And I can't believe those Storm Vermin are routing. It's not going to matter. Downhill charge. That should finish off the rest of the Storm Vermin. That's a big swing. That was some... Oh, no. The Skaven General and his bodyguard. There were literally 2 dudes left. There's just the albino guard that is actually the general for the last Skaven army. Manages to take down the Ancient Stegadon and the Ancient of the Gods there. There's only 1 left now. That was crazy. The general actually took down the Stegadon by himself, effectively, with only 1 guy left in the unit. That's insane. and Scar Vets have to pull away as we see a bunch of little teeny rats running on the ground. The meat shields there, and the Plague Monks try and tie them down just a teeny bit slower than the Cold Ones at this point. And now we have to reform the battle lines as the Skink Archers charge in. Might be able to finish off that unit of Storm Vermin even with their crappy melee stats. Nope, they're routing. Skink Archers are routing. And we're getting into the late stages now. Can that Engine of the Gods do what is necessary to carry the Children of the Old Ones to victory over the Children of the Horned Rat? It's going to be tough. It's going to be up to the Ancient Stegadon, and it's going to be up to these remaining Scar Vets of mine, who are in a good position to get some really devastating charges off if they can get over the fact that they're all really dead-ass tired. So we're going to see them charge in now. What are we going for? Looks like some Spear Clan Rats. Good charge. Pretty much demolished the whole unit there, but they are losing a couple of models as well themselves, and I think the Skaven have the numbers to not care too much about that. Maybe a good trade for them. 3 or so Scar Vets, probably worth 40 or 50 of those Clan Rats, but numbers-wise, it's hard to know. Balance bar is shifting just a teeny bit in the Skaven's favor, but the balance bar doesn't even matter at this point. It comes down to whether the numbers can hold up for the Skaven, or whether one catastrophic charge or big shot from the engine can finish them off and cause some kind of chain rout. Without their gens, there's only one gen left on the field. If that gen goes down, it could spell doom for the Skaven. Big charge coming in. Those Clan Pestilens Plague Monks should not survive that. And the Scar Vets have made such a big impact on the game. Just these massive hammer and anvil charges. Some of them were a little bit weak into the Jezzails. It took me way more work there than I was expecting to take it down. But, yeah, it's decided to close into melee now. No longer able to kite because there's nothing else to tie down the Skaven melee unit. So it'll be up to the Stegadon in melee itself. Can the... no, actually the General's not on top of it. It's only if you bring it as your gen. So, yeah, the Stegadon was my gen. This is Draven's now, I think. And it's just stuck in melee, completely surrounded by Storm Vermin, completely surrounded by the Plague Monks, but so few of them left. Think about how big those Skaven armies were at the beginning of this game. And now they're only less than a couple hundred. We're talking maybe 150, 200 max Skaven left on the field. Maybe 50 or so Lizardmen left. And you know that Stegadon's going to dish out some serious damage in melee. The attack animation is a little bit goofy. I mean, oh, it goes down. No way. The Stegadon goes down. If it was able to finish off those units in melee, that would have been it. If that Storm Vermin unit had died, it probably would have been game. I think the Scar Vets could have handled the Plague Monks easily with those a couple repeated hammer and anvil charges. But balance where you can see how massively that shifted there. Smacking those Plague Monks into the ground. At this point, it's not going to matter. Lizardmen have been overwhelmed, have been overrun as the Clan Rats come in. But look at that. The battered, bloodied remnants of 3 units of Skaven. And that's it. And the General with only 1 man. The Chieftain himself left. And that's it. That was close, dude. In a 3v3, to only have, what, 120 Skaven left on the field at this point? That's about as close as you can possibly get. I don't know if I've seen a Beginning of the End Times 3v3 end that close. Yeah, that could have easily gone either way. 1 or 2 changes on either side could have completely changed the outcome of that battle. Really fun one. Went down to the wire. Really enjoyed that. Hope you guys did as well. So, yeah, Dreven had like 2,300 kills. I had 1,800. Dildor with like 1,500. And you can see the Skaven kills were much less. Obviously, I brought a tiny army, only 600 men. Pretty elite-centric Stegadons and Temple Guard and a couple Kroxigors, that kind of thing. So it makes sense that my army was so small. My teammates actually brought a lot more skinks than I did, and that kind of rounded out the rest of their builds. I'd say that in a 1v1, my build wouldn't have been ideal, but in a 3v3, it could definitely fly. See the kills here. You're going to see mostly that the Kroxigors and Temple Guard did decently for sure. Ancient of the Gods just unleashed hell on the Skaven armies, and they were the biggest factor in that battle for sure. Skink Chiefs did alright. They're not going to get like massive amounts of kills, or the Skink Priests, but they will do what you need them to do, which is snipe down those important targets. And yeah, Ancient of the Gods for both Lizardmen armies that brought them just massive amount of kills. And the Scar Vets, over 500. Insane. So yeah, really fun battle. definitely should get some of you a little bit more hyped for Total War Warhammer 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time. Any Prize signing out for now.